Welcome to Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm your host, Tricia Carr. Thank you for joining me today. If you're watching live, well, this is a special broadcast time. I did have an issue with technology on our normal time slot, which is Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. And so if you're listening in the archive, thank you for joining us, even though we're a few days late than we usually are, to getting this out on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Tricia Carr, or on the RSS feed for the podcast, which you can find by searching Charmed Life with Tricia Carr. And however you are watching, I'm so grateful that you're here with us. And I hope that you will like, comment, subscribe, and share, because as you do that, you're joining your light and your heart to this broadcast and this podcast. And I'm ever so grateful to you. I would also like to invite you to check out my Patreon community, and that is patreon.com/Tricia Carr. I am, like I say, it's a community. It's awesome. We're engaging there. We do 2 meetings every single month for the $5 and $7 patronage tiers. And we do a live group meeting where we get together and we learn, we share. I do a little bit of reading, channeling, whatever we need to do, but we collect and share our light with one another. And then we also do, at the full moon, we do a live group meditation, which I also produce and then send out to you as an MP3 for you to have for your very own. So there's a lot of other rewards there. If you're interested in working with me in any way, then you can, please do go and check out the Patreon community, because I have all kinds of rewards, so discounts on the different offerings that I have. So I would love it if you would join me at Patreon. Again, it's patreon.com/Tricia Carr. And another thing I want to tell you about is that every other week, so coming this Sunday, May 20th, as this is being broadcast, I am doing an intuitive and mediumship development class online, so you could do it anywhere from your home, in wherever you are in the world. It is being held at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and I do it every other Sunday. It's amazing. So this is a unique kind of class that is also a development circle or coaching that I actually lead. Last week, we had 3 people who came to the class who had never done a reading before in their life, and they gave evidential readings with one another. I promise you, if you are interested in doing the work that you see that I do, or that you see that other people are doing, to developing your intuitive abilities or opening up a gift like mediumship, it is an amazing experience. It's fun, and that's all it is. It's just fun, and it's just edifying. It isn't scary. It's really just us coming together and loving on each other for 2 or more hours. So go check that out, please. The best way you can find it is actually to join my Facebook group, and that is facebook.com/groups/charmedlifelove. And you can request to join, and we will invite you in, or you can find it on my regular Facebook business page as well. Or if you want to take down this website, this is actually how you can find the direct link to be able to sign up for this course. It is, this class. Spaces are limited because we only actually, we want to be able to serve everyone. The class, for at least, it's usually 2 hours, sometimes it's 2.25 hours, is $44. And I will send you a recording of the class as well, so you can go back and listen to the lessons that were taught during the class, and also your reading that either you received from another fellow student or that you gave to a fellow student. It's really, really fun. So, triciacarr.ipages.co/intuitive-development-single-class. I know it's long, so go find my Facebook page. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. All right, with that business behind me, I want to welcome my very special guest. Okay, we've been trying to do this show for a long time. Jarvis has been wanting us to do this show for a long time. Hello to Jarvis. Because Jarvis wants us to do it because of the topic. And I want to do it because of the topic, but also because of my amazing guest, one of my sister. There's no other, you're like at that top tier of people in my life. So I don't know how we get any higher. It's like Brian and then you, my husband. Hoku Lani Akau. Welcome, Hoku.
Hi, you're so sweet.
So Hokulani is a childhood friend, I guess we would say. We became friends when we were like 14 and 15 years old. And at that time, we were taking our cute little butts to church. You guys heard me say that I come from the church. That's how my spiritual development first began. And so Hoku and I, and by the way, Hoku, your family didn't take you to church really, right? You did it on your own like me?
I went to catechism in a Catholic church,
yeah,
and went to a Latin mass that I didn't understand on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
So.
Now, but Hoku and I were going to charismatic churches, which is no surprise considering now that we are both intuitives and animal communicators. So, I say it's no surprise because if you're not familiar with the charismatic evangelical Christian churches, they believe in the gifts of the Spirit that are detailed in Acts and talking about the different ways that Spirit actually moves through us in evidential ways. And so we were attracted to that when we were little girls. Well, we were teenagers. Yep. And so Hoku and I, I had a spiritual awakening like 3 or 4 years ago at this point, 3.5 years ago. And Hoku and I had been kind of like distantly in touch like you are a lot of times with people who are high school friends, you're in Facebook contact. And when I came out of the broom closet about my spirituality and I posted it on Facebook, Hoku messaged me and said, well, it seems we've gone down the same path. I'm also an animal communicator. Jarvis, is that the craziest story ever?
It's so weird.
So weird. But what was I want to hear, I'm going to let you take over here in a sec, but I want to hear, actually, I don't remember if I've asked you specifically, like when you read my words saying that I was an animal communicator, like what did you think of that?
I sat there dumbstruck, like I just,
right.
What?
I was that
what
positive.
Are the odds?
What are the odds? I mean, I don't know another animal communicator unless I've sought out animal communicator. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And then it's someone who's like one of your dearest and oldest friends. It's crazy.
It's one of those beautiful, bizarre synchronicities that, it's so interesting. Our trajectories have been so similar.
Oh my gosh.
Even as we discussed, like in our 20s or 30s, it's crazy how...
so parallel.
So parallel.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell folks a bit about your journey, your path, and how you opened up to your gifts, because we have a lot of listeners, a lot of people that reach out to me that say that they come from the church too, and they are sort of opening up to a new expression of their spirituality, but they still have a lot of fear. And, it seems like a lot of people, actually, I just saw a lot of people from high school a couple of weeks ago because our high school drama teacher retired. And one friend, Hoku, Chris Malloy. Chris was hearing, Eddie, another friend of ours, was talking about what I do now. And he was like, what? You were like the church lady. How is that possible?
And I still am.
I'm a different kind of church lady. I'm still going to church. We're at church today. Amen. All right. Sorry. You go ahead. I'm so excited. I'm being giddy. So tell folks about your path, your journey.
So like you said, I was sent to a catechism in the Catholic Church, but really had a solo journey seeking source. So I always sought source since I was a wee little one. And growing up, it was a solo seeking in my family, much just like you.
Yep.
As an adult, I got involved in churches, one for a very long period of time, one for a relatively short period of time, and that one that I was there for just a short time seemed to have very lasting consequences and effects on my life that I still feel today. And it's all good. And it's been fine. But really sitting in a church, it became very evident that it was time to move forward because it was getting very hard to sit under teachers who set parameters around who God is, who set limitations on the I am. And it just, I couldn't do it anymore. It became too much work because you kind of sit, you listen, and you think, yeah, I don't agree. And this is why. And it just became too much work. So it became very clear that I needed to get out. So I decided to look away from pulpit preachers, look up from the written word, and look out into the manifested word all around me, creation, where I continue to be a student today. As far as animal communication goes, I was 7 years old, and I was sitting in the living room, and a bird on the patio started talking a different language, but somehow I understood that this bird was talking. And I understood what this bird was saying. And I didn't understand what was happening because I'm like, this isn't the language I use, but how do I understand? So birdie. So I I called in my mom and I asked her, like, can you hear this bird? We had this discussion. It was a very frustrating discussion as I tried to explain to her what I was hearing and that there was this language. We just didn't know it yet. And, or now I know, we didn't remember it. And she had this very frustrating time of understanding what I was even talking about. And so then I put it to the wayside. I just, that's a no, it's a closed door and you just forget about it. Fast forward years ahead, when I had my beloved dog companion, she had a disc injury and was paralyzed. I took her to an animal chiropractor, whom, by the way, she got healed and lived 3 years longer running around. It was wonderful. But the animal chiro, she became my friend and she suggested that I talk to an animal communicator. During that session, the communicator told, or my Cashy girl told her that, she needs to know that we talk and that I hear her and she hears me just fine.
Yeah.
So she told me that and I was like, I knew it. So I spent an afternoon with the communicator and she, she taught me like what I was seeing and how to listen. And that was the day it started. And it was just getting permission to do it and then saying yes to that permission given. And then it's interesting because you gave me permission for the next phase.
What?
Because remember, who told you that you talk to animals? Yeah. Why wouldn't you be able to talk to humans?
Oh, yeah, that's Hillary Michaels. Yeah, Hillary Michaels. Who's been on the show several times. She's a medium and a teacher, a spiritual teacher. And yes, I came to her class and she's like, so tell me your background, just to let the listeners know. Tell me your background, where are you coming? What are your intentions for the class? And I was like, well, I'm an animal communicator. I've been, I've opened up to that gift a little bit ago and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, so she was doing an ability assessment. She's like, well, you're a medium too. And I was like, no, I don't think I even believe that humans exist after. It was so silly. Like, I don't know what I think about that. I'm certainly not a medium. And she's like, but have you been communicating with animals who are past, animals who are in spirit? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay, so you're a human and... So you might you actually have a connection to humans. It's kind of a weird thing. I know you don't recognize it. No, I'm totally paraphrasing Hillary. But yeah, she was just basically like, well, yeah, you connect with animals in spirit. So of course you could speak with humans in spirit as well. Right. And you said that to me and I was like, oh. And seriously, I was sitting on the couch one day with my friend and she's like, well, do you think you could talk to my grandmother? Wow. Who's passed? And I was like, yeah. And let's see. And that was my first time. And it was, it was beautiful and natural. Yeah. So I don't know. So anyway, saying yes. Yes. Giving yourself permission, such an important thing. And that is what we actually, if we look at some of the actual biblical scripture, the words in red, the Jesus words, Jesus said, you are all gods. This that I do, you can do an even greater. But those are the things that they didn't kind of highlight to us from that pulpit, did they now? Right. It was all demonic and you were going to another dark place if you touched any of those things, which is bizarre. Exactly. Considering that I use my heart to do it. So, but it's all, that's the thing that I think that all religions, not just the fundamentalist Christian religions that Hoku and I have experienced, I think that religions can be limiting. They put boundaries around things. And I think one of the fatal failures about religion is that God is constantly placed outside of you. No, with Christian religion, yes, they say Jesus is in your heart, and so there's a link there. But it's still somehow that God is placed outside of you, and we never actually bring God and the the exact identity with God into us, the God essence, the source energy within the inner being. There is no separation there. There is no difference. And that's the thing. I think that's how religions actually limit to us, because it's always kept outside. And part of that is because of the the antiquitous cultures in which they were created, because it was like the governments were kind of trying to help the people by controlling them. There was actually not always the worst kind of intention there, just maybe ignorant, I would say. It's one way that we can look at it with compassion, I think, at least.
Yeah. And I do, and I'm still a biblical student today. Mm-hmm. I do believe that it needs to be taught contextually, like in context. And, but gosh, the wisdom, the understanding, what it means to be a human, all of these things that you can glean from it. I just think a lot of the time it's not taught in the way that much of them were oral traditions, yes, were taught in the ancient tradition of these sacred texts. Mm-hmm. So if we could go back to that and allow it to, I think one of the big things too is we weren't allowed to question, right? You couldn't ask questions, and that's just crazy.
It's just, if you had a question, it's just like, well, it's because you are flawed and feeble as a human. And so you just, you just do, you don't ask. Yeah.
But yes, like you said, we have compassion for them, for any belief system, because all paths are leading to the great one, right?
Yes. Amen. Yes. Well, we had a really amazing week. The reason this show lined up to happen on animal communication. And so we actually do have a few people who've called in with their animals, and we're going to be taking those calls in a bit. And before we do so, hang on, you people. I know about you, and I'm so excited to connect with you and your babies. But I want to tell this amazing story that Hoku and I had this past week. We collaborate on cases every now and again, usually because we have it's challenging in one way or another, but because we might have an emotional connection to the animal, and so we're concerned about our objectivity. And so the beginning of this, it's actually a two-part story. There are two kitty girls who are the leaders of these stories. Oh, I should have gotten a picture of Gracie. Well, anyway, it started a week and a half ago with Hoku's kitty, Gracie. Would you like to tell what was going on with Gracie last weekend before last?
She just got in these episodes where she was very sick and vomiting, and I just couldn't get a handle on it. And it's happened before, and it's terrible when your beloved is in pain and agony. And the first person, I had to call Tricia, who has communicated with Gracie before. And because what was the first thing I told her, that I'm doing it wrong. I can't set aside my worry.
Yeah. That's not Gracie, no. It's just another kitty. Who's the kitty on your Facebook profile? Jarvis is pulling up.
Oh, I was like, where?
You have 7 there, so one of them is probably going to pop up. Oh, maybe Gracie will just come join us.
My profile pic.
Yeah.
Just a cute.
Just somebody.
I liked his energy.
You just don't know him? Okay. Well, yeah. So what Hoku's referring to is, so when we have our own animals. No, that's actually Lily. He's surrounded by Jarvis is looking through your Facebook profile and pulling up another cat, and I'm like, these are other. She's not going to have it on her. She doesn't have it. So thank you, Jarvis. So when animal communicators, we can connect with our own animals, but they're basically an extension of our own body. So it's like the same reason why we would go to the doctor, because we need help from an outside objective source. It's not because we most of the time we're taking care of our own body and our own health, 99.9% of the time, but every now and again, because we're too close to ourselves, we need to go to the doctor, or we need to get a reading from another intuitive, even if we're an intuitive. And so when Hoku and I, especially with our own animal family, we call one another for support to get some objectivity, because, you get the fear, you get the worry, and you're like, oh. But what Hoku said to me was, I'm trying to stay disconnected from her so that my fear and my worry doesn't basically kind of
hurt her,
make
it worse,
compromise her emotional situation. And so I was I was connecting with Gracie, but I was also connecting with guides. So it was actually Archangel Raphael who started to instruct me and tell me to tell Hoku that she doesn't have to worry about her worry. That is there, that's human. That is her 3D, because that's where your solar plexus is. That's the third dimension, and that's where a lot of the relationship is with Gracie. And 4D, which is your heart and the love and unconditional space. Your 4D and your 3D connection with her is naturally going to have expectations and desires that are to do with her being well. And don't judge yourself for that. And then he also reassured me that besides that 3 and 4D, and of course the first and second dimensions, we have all of the other dimensions that we're connecting on. And especially as an intuitive and a spiritual master like Hoku is, she has all of the dimensions up to 12 that she's connecting. And those are running pure. And so her healer energy is untainted, and you do not have to be concerned about whether worry is seeping in and making things toxic. Her, 5 through 12 are all working away, and she is still doing exactly what she needs to do in order to be the guardian, the spiritual and physical guardian for her Gracie at this time. And so that was what Gracie actually led us to understand, was this multidimensional connecting. And so Gracie's still kind of in recovery, but she's pretty much over the hump, right? She's doing well.
Yes. Yeah. She's almost fully recovered, I would say.
Yes.
So, yay.
And we were able to, how it is when, if you guys are animal guardians, you don't want to do things that are too challenging, like to intervene. You don't want to rush them to the vet if that's only going to stress them out and possibly compromise their situation. And so we were trying to figure that out. And that's the other thing that you need, you might want a perspective on from another animal communicator, Hokume, like, should I rush to the vet or should I stay home? You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? And she didn't end up having to go to the vet. You had some homeopathic medicine, you had some medicine at home. So we were able to treat her and hold space for her and let her receive her healing in the gentlest way possible, which I think is really beautiful.
Right.
And really pretty much the next day when Gracie started to come into recovery and really get over the hump. Actually, I think I had reached out to you to say, how's Gracie doing? And then right on the tail of that, I told you that our friend Dina, also from high school, also a girl that I was taking my cute little butt to church with. We were all three friends, very close at some point, but we were never like a triple, right? I wouldn't say that, like, we were in the same. I was paired off with Dina for probably a year, and was paired off with you for a year, just like how you do that. And so definitely had best friendship with Dina. There's a picture. That's us in a play. Yeah, Hoku and me. That's circa probably 90, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so Dina messaged me because her kitty, Charlie Girl. Now, Charlie Girl is actually the sister of my Delilah, my cat Delilah. Charlie and her brother Nico were actually rescued. Yeah, that's Charlie and Nico. Jarvis is putting up a photo of Charlie and Nico in love and so smushed together because they love each other so much. Charlie and Nico were born of the same mother of my cat Delilah, and about a year after Delilah was born. And I trapped them and homed them, and Dina took Charlie and Nico. I subsequently also was able to capture their mother and get her fixed so that she didn't have to keep going through that cycle of having babies. So that was now 3 years ago, I think. Yeah, more than 3 years ago. And so Charlie had gotten out. And it was terrible. Charlie's an indoor cat only. So she'd gotten out. She'd been gone 24 hours. And so when I read Dina's message, she was messaging me, I instantly, my 3D and 4D connection starts to get compromised because my heart hurts because I love Charlie. I was her first human guardian, and I love her. So I messaged Hoku. And we have done a lost animal case before, and they're very challenging. We've
done a few together.
We've done a few.
Yeah, they're so hard. Lost cases for animal communicators, like, they don't leave you.
Yeah, no.
You kind of always have them. You're always connected, and they're not easy. So especially if you have that connection, like Tricia, you're talking about, it's it's tough. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, it is difficult. And so I'm trying to think of where to go in this story. Well, basically, we started connecting, and Hoku was getting really detailed information by remote viewing into Charlie. So remote viewing is when an intuitive or an animal communicator in particular asks the animal if you can see through their eyes. So Hoku is looking through Charlie's eyes and picking up the things that she's seeing. So Hoku was describing a curve in the road, the way the foliage looked. There was a sign that was red with white lettering, and all of these details. Now, it's not the easiest. Now the humans take that. Charlie's mom takes that information and is like, "Okay, yeah, but I live in a condo complex that's like, I think 2 square miles." So she's, that's what's so challenging, is because we're communicating with an animal who is lost, unless the animal is taken off and says they don't want to go back, which we've actually experienced before when we collaborated on a case. The animal was like, "I don't want to be there anymore." And that's not fun news either. That's really difficult news to deliver to a human.
That's right.
Or when you have to deliver the news that the animal is passed. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of actually the first thing you ask usually, right, Hoku, is, are your feet on the ground? Like, are you alive?
Always, mm-hmm. Yeah. And it feels different. Mm-hmm. The weight of it feels different. So you can usually you can tell, mm-hmm. are your feet on the ground, and you can feel what you call it, the density.
Mm-hmm.
There's a different density to it. And if they're in spirit, it just feels different. Mm-hmm. And so with her, yeah, automatic. And the great thing about getting images right away and asking that is you're able to tell, like the human, in this case, Dina, that your cat is alive. And so their energy now kind of changes too, right?
Yes.
So, but there were images of like, okay, I see the white stucco building, and she's turning a corner. Oh yeah, that's our house. That's our condo is white stucco. And she always goes around the corner or whatever. So there's like little validations that let us know, okay, that's great. Let's keep moving forward. Because these validations, especially in these traumatic situations, really, don't they help?
Oh, 100%.
They really help.
Well, the way that they help, because really what happens, and this is when I went to help Dina in person, because she lives about an hour away from me. Really what happens is the animal and the human find each other. Their connection magnetizes them back together. Hoku and I, as animal communicators, are just facilitating. We're holding space,
right,
and we're connecting information. I mean, yeah, if you know that your animal is still alive, then you have hope, and your heart starts reaching forward for them rather than being in grief, which is a confusing signal to be able to connect with. And again, it's perfectly natural, but it switches you into a mode that will start to magnetize the animal back to you. So it's very helpful. The validations, I think, tune the frequency to be able to help them find one another. And the animal as well. Because when Hoku is connecting with Dina, telling Dina, the details, and then Dina feels it, then the animal is actually like, oh, I can feel mom now. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to get less lost. I'm starting to get more oriented, because she was disoriented, literally. And so since my connection, every time I felt Charlie, I knew she was alive. I could feel it. And I had a clairaudient connection with her. So I just feel her saying yes. And then I just feel her saying yes, and I'm lost. And then she was kind of getting very scattered because she was freaked out, and she was in her primal nature. She was in flight and hiding and all of that. And so then, because I had just learned that lesson through Gracie and from Archangel Raphael about the multidimensional connection, I was like, okay, well, my intuitive connection is still clear. If my 3D and 4D connection with Charlie may be a bit confused with some worry, that's all right. And so I took out a map. I said, Dina, what's your address? And I went on Google Maps, and I pulled up her house, and then I just felt into the map, and I felt into Charlie, and I circled, by marking it up, I circled 2 spots on the map. And I have no idea actually what the scale is. Jarvis is putting up the map that I sent to Dina. I have no idea what the scale is. I don't know if I just circled something that was 2 miles away or not. I just went with my feels on it. And I said, before I sent the map, I just felt, and I just asked my guides, asked Archangel Shamuel, I call in for lost anything that's lost, because he helps connections in that way. And I sent it to Dina, and I said, this is where I feel her. And so they kept searching for about 36 hours, going out and searching that area. And Dina was saying, oh my gosh, they found like the sign and the curve that Hoku had described, like different details. They went and found it in their complex. So am I leaving anything out right now, Hoku?
No, just that sign kept coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We kept thinking, it's red and white. Is it a sign? Is it a stop sign? Is it a, what is this? No, it's horizontal. And it's red and white. And
yeah. And so I was working late, so there were 2 nights of her being gone after we were involved, and I had to work late both nights. And so then it was Friday night, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go because I'm able to go now. I can get finished with work and go. And so then the next bit of the story is me actually going to search for Charlie. And before we get into that, I just want to pause for a moment and talk about the sponsor for this episode of Charmed Life, Zola Registry. So you know that Charmed Life, the intro says that this show is all about unconditional love, and so are animals. Oh my goodness, so are they. They are so much better at unconditional love than we are. Well, I love this sponsor of Charmed Life because Zola Registry is also a company all about love. And they will do anything. They are more than just a wedding company. They will do anything for love. And it has a lot of fun and easy different features that you use. It's more than just a wedding registry for people who are betrothed. It has all of your favorite department stores and things like honeymoon funds, fitness classes, wine subscriptions, and so much more. Their friendly customer service is, you can't get better with this customer service. It's so important because we have our family members who are, trying to give us a gift of love, and they'll even walk a grandmother through how to be able to pick out the perfect blender from your wedding registry. And I think that is so sweet. You can personalize your registry if you are a couple who is getting married with your own photos and notes about the things that you are desiring and coveting. There's a group gifting feature for people to be able to go in on big ticket items together. And Zola has a free suite of wedding planning tools so that you can actually do your wedding website through Zola, or you can integrate your own wedding website with the registry. So to sign up with Zola, Z-O-L-A, and receive a $50 credit toward your registry, go to zola.com/charmed. Again, it's Z-O-L-A. You'll receive a $50 credit toward your registry at zola.com/charmed. Okay, and we're back. So we are talking about animal communication with my dear and amazing friend, Hokulani Akau, animal communicator and intuitive and medium and, goddess. I'm just going to go ahead and throw in there. So we're talking about the story of Charlie, our friend Dina's lost kitty. So now we're at the point where I'm driving to go and help Dina and her daughter Riley also to find Charlie. So I get to their house. I get to, this, like I said, it's this big matrix of a condo complex. And I pull up, and even before we go in the house, Dina meets me out front, and I say, I'm feeling her that way. And I kind of point to a direction. And Dina's like, that's where you pointed to on the map. That's the direction of the map. And I was like, okay, let me go inside and connect with Nico, her brother, who they're very, very close. Let me go connect with him first. And Dina says, okay, well, Nico got out 2 more times since Charlie got out. Yesterday, he was going the direction that, the map is taking us. But today, when he got out, he just went out the back. And so totally opposite direction. So that seems confusing. You're like, oh, no. And especially with me feeling like I can't trust my connection on that third dimension. So I just asked Nico, I was like, were you going out and trying to find sister today behind the house instead of, the direction of the map? He's like, no, I was just playing. I forgot about her for a minute. And Dina was like, yeah, he's not so deep sometimes. But that's okay. That's good. He had a moment of of not being so stressed out that sister was lost. So we get on foot and we start walking that direction. And as we're walking the direction toward where the places I circled on the map, Dina gets a notification from Nextdoor. If you guys don't know about Nextdoor, it's like a social media app, it's a social media network where people can post messages about their specific neighborhood. And so tons of lost animals are reconnected home. But if you go check out Nextdoor, you probably have it available in your area, and it's really awesome. It's totally free. I'm not like, this is not a sponsored ad or anything. It's some kind of free service someone put together, and it's really great. And so Dina got this message from Nextdoor, one of her a neighbor saying, I just saw her on my back porch. I put some food out, and I tried to call her, and she ran away. And so we map it because, we didn't know where that was. Right there again where that map was. The map that I had felt and sent a day or so before. So we went there, and we got there, and we're like, there's the sign that Hoku said. And you know what? By the way, Hoku, I don't know if I mentioned it to you while we were there. It was only about 2 feet high, that sign. It was, it says it's like, we use recycled water to water this area. And so it's basically Charlie's eye height, eye level.
Right.
So it makes sense that it would really stand out.
Yeah.
And so it started to rain on us too. So that wasn't fun. Sprinklers coming on, people coming around. And then Dina told me, she's like, as soon as you got here, because Dina's very intuitive as well. She actually has studied Reiki, so she is an intuitive person. But in her worry, she didn't feel like she could connect with Charlie. But she said, as soon as you got here, I could feel her. And so they just started finding each other. Riley, her 22-year-old daughter, first found her. And Charlie was starting to walk to her. We just found her. Like, we were just in this huge complex by going with our feels, our hearts, and we started to find her. And I'm trying to speed it forward. It was a dramatic night, wasn't it, Hoku? Because Hoku was texting us the whole time and saying, like, where she was and everything. And we found her 3 times. And each time that we found her, she would start to come to either Riley or Dina, but then she would get spooked by a dog barking or by, a pizza man coming by or something like that. And then it started to rain really hard. And she was in the middle of these bushes, or there were 2 sets of bushes. We weren't sure where she was. And we thought, okay, we're going to have to trap her in a humane trap, by the way, because she's just she gets too scared. She's in her primal nature and fleeing. But again, seeing her just made us feel, okay, that's it. She's coming home. There's no doubt about it now.
Right.
I've seen her 3 times. But she's still a slippery one. It's like trying to catch a trout in a river. So Hoku is holding space the whole time and just, trying to get Charlie to ground herself so that she can make it back. And then after we went back to Dina's house, Dina's husband went back out and tried to look for her as well. So again, long story short, we just thought that we were going to have to trap her because she was so slippery, and praying that there weren't any coyotes coming down into the condo complex overnight. And I get a message at 6 a.m., look who came home. And it was Charlie had made her way back. It was amazing. Another thing that Dina did was, because the house that she had been visiting for food, the lady that actually, her name was Linda, who reached out to us and said, hey, she's at my house. Someone had wind chimes, one of her neighbors. And Dina said, I had wind chimes until recently and I took them down. So Dina went and put her wind chimes back up. So the sound plus the energetic and scent trail that we had made back and forth helped Charlie, and just the heart connection. Dina being able to activate their heart connection and believing and knowing that she was alive and she was coming home. Charlie just was able to make it after 3 days, made it back home. And one of the most amazing things about it is that Dina then told us that her 3-year-old daughter, Vivian, had been saying all 3 days, she's just on a trip right now. She's on an adventure and she's going to come home on Saturday. And she came home on Saturday.
So good. I love it. Yay.
Yeah. So that was our story. And again, like another time that Hoku and I collaborated. Let's tell. Should we take? Do we have time to take all 3 of our callers if we tell a short story? No, maybe we should take our callers. Okay, we're going to take our callers now, Hoku. So what we did was I asked people, because the way that we work as animal communicators is we connect with the animal by looking at a photo of in which we can clearly see their eyes. That's important for us to hook into their field. So you can take any of the one of them. Hoku, you have their photos as well?
I have not seen their photos.
Oh, I sent them to you. Okay, well, that's
I know,
fine.
But my power was out and it was
that's all right.
weird...
Jarvis can put them up anyway, so he can put them up for you. You're going to pick up Hope? Okay, Hope, we're going to bring you on the line. And
okay.
Hi, Hope.
Okay. Hi.
Can you put her puppy's photo up for me? It's the one with the guy who's got the brown face, or girl. So hi, Hope. We have Hokulani on with us as well.
Hi there.
Hello.
Thank you so much for calling. So all we know, we have your photo of your sweetie. Is your puppy a male or female?
Male.
And what is his name?
Tito.
Peto? That's cute.
Tito.
Oh, Tito with a T. Okay. Tito, yeah, he looks like a Tito. And how old is Tito?
Tito is 9.
Okay. And you've been together since he was a puppy?
No, my daughter actually found him abandoned 6 years ago.
Okay.
And we think he's 9. That's a guess.
Okay.
My daughter found him in the woods, and he was supposed to be her dog, but she loved him too much and scared him, so he ended up coming to me, and he's been my dog ever since.
Oh, okay. Well, is there a particular something you would like us to ask or look at regarding Tito?
We've had him for 6 years now, but he still cries a lot in the car. But we travel in our big truck over the road, and he's fine in the big truck. But as soon as we get in the car, he cries.
Okay. And he's in the back seat, is it one of those small back seats of the pickup truck?
He climbs all over. No, in our big truck, we drive an 18-wheeler cross country.
I gotcha.
In here, he's fine.
Okay. All right, cool. So you want to...
But when we get, home time, in the car, he cries a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's a whiner.
Oh, yeah. Hoku, are you feeling that connection with Tito?
I'm going to let you start.
Okay. So you want to know what the distinction is, what the difference is, but why he feels that way in the car, or what is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we've had him for so long, and he still cries.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing that I hear he tells me is that the big truck feels more like home, and he knows it's moving, but it does feel more settled, more stable. And I think that just literally the fact that it is bigger. He's okay with the motion about it. The motion with the car, it really kind of just upsets his nervous system so much. And it isn't as stable.
Okay.
And your car is, I want to say it's not like brand new, right? It's a car that maybe is 5 or more years old.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so the stability of the truck, it's just more comfortable for him, and it feels like a second home. And we also have the looping thing that happens as well, because now he's going to cry when he gets in the car, and so he's kind of triggered even before the car. And he says he actually starts to whine a little bit before he even gets inside the car. Is that something you've noticed? He starts to whimper just a little bit before you get him. Yeah. Yeah. So
if I get out of his sight, he cries.
Yeah. Yeah. So there isn't. I don't know if there's a lot we can do, except maybe if you put him in a soft crate, he's still going to feel that motion, though. He's still going to feel that vibration. And it's so funny. I just had another client that had this very similar issue with her dog. But just him feeling more secure inside a soft crate or a soft carrier could make him feel a little bit better. Hoku, you about to?
Do you have in your rig, do you have like a red or pinkish, some sort of blanket that he lies on? A bed or something that's kind of a red blanket, maybe?
It's a blanket. Mm-hmm. No, not red.
Okay.
He lays on the blanket. He's with me all the time. He covers up with Mama's blanket.
Mm.
Okay. That feels very cozy. Your car does not. So I agree with what Tricia's saying. It's the same information. So maybe a big cozy blanket in the car.
Mm-hmm. Maybe bring that
Yeah.
Mama's blanket or some other blanket that has yours and his scent on it, and put it in a crate that is more cozy. I still feel like that motion and the fact that the car doesn't have as much weight to it is still going to make him whimper. But I think we could actually dial down some of the overacting if we make him feel a little more secure. One of the great things about communication is that you can actually start to shift this if he's not getting sick. Some animals have severe motion sickness, but that doesn't seem like it's the issue here.
He did used to until we got in the big truck, and he doesn't have motion sickness anymore.
Oh, well, that's good. That's a little bit of therapy then.
He did used to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. So you could start by saying, change the dialogue in your own head. If you're going to be going in the car, use positive because animals think in positive affirmations. They don't hear the negative. They hear the noun. So, or the adjective, so you can start saying, oh, we get to go in the car. You love the car. Oh, we get to go for a ride. You love going on rides. And it may not feel like you're telling the truth at first, but you are, because you're going to just start speaking that into existence. And he's going to start believing it, because as soon as you say to an animal, oh gosh, he doesn't like the car. Well, guess what? Now he's not going to like the car, because he's in agreement.
Okay.
Right. He's just doing what you're telling him, essentially. And we all do this.
Yeah.
So it's just changing your language to positive.
Yeah.
And take away the negative, turn it to positive. Oh, you love this. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Start expecting it to be fun. Try to trick yourself into expecting him to be calm and for it to be a fun and relaxing experience. If you can trick yourself into thinking that for a few minutes before, then it will at least get ahead of it, and he won't be as triggered. He starts whimpering right away because he's like, oh, no, Mom said, oh, no, we're about to get in the car. And, oh, no, Tito's going to get upset. That's what he hears. He hears that. He feels it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm upset. Okay. Mom said to be upset. Do you remember the original Ghostbusters? And they're like, don't think of anything. And then the one guy thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we do to our animals.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Hope, and thank you, Tito, for letting us connect with you. I hope that helps. Keep us posted.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
Bye.
All right. Who
do we have next? Jennifer. Okay. So Jennifer is coming on the line, and we have a picture of her sweetie. And there he or she is. I think that is probably a girl puppy, just because... Not because she has a purple tag on. Jennifer, are you on with us? Yeah. Hi, Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you? Hi. We have Hokalani on with us as well.
Hi there.
Hello. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
And who is this here? What is your doggie a male or a female?
She's a female.
Okay. And what is her name?
Lexi.
Lexi. And how old is Lexi?
She is about 7 years old.
Okay. And she's been with you since she was 7, or it sounds like it was a rescue case at about age 18 months or something like that? Or I should say it feels like that to me.
I've had her about a year. She was a rescue case.
Okay. So she had a transition at 18 months, too. I don't know if you're aware of that, if you know her story before she got to you.
I do. She was, she came out of, I went completely blank. They used her as a puppy mill.
Oh.
She came out of a puppy mill.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. I wonder what happened at 18 months. We can check on that if we want to. But do you have any particular question or anything you want us to look at with Lexi?
I really don't have a particular question, I guess. I just want to make sure she's happy.
Okay. Hoku, are you picking anything up with Lexi, or do you want me to start?
Go ahead and start.
Okay. So was she brought up something at 18 months? And okay. So this is, wow, it's interesting. I don't know if you know this, but it feels like somehow she was retired at 18 months. Somehow they stopped. There was something that it was like a feeling of abandonment that happened with her when she was 18 months old. Somehow, I don't know if they retired her or if they slowed down breeding with her. Maybe she had a litter that wasn't, they weren't happy with, and then they kind of put her on the back burner. And was this puppy mill shut down? Is that what do you know this? That it was like there was a rescue, like there was some kind of shutdown? Because it feels like she was rescued from there at some point. Is that what you understand?
No, it wasn't shut down. She was gave up by the puppy mill, the owner, to a rescue.
Oh, okay.
Because they were done with her at 6 months. I mean, at 6 years.
6 years? Oh, my God. I can't believe they did that for 6 years. Well, something happened at 18 months.
She had an infection. When I found her, she had been cured. She had an infection in her anal glands.
Mm. Oh, my goodness.
And her hair had been shaved, but she looked like she had a diaper.
Mm. Oh, my gosh.
But that was at 6 years, so it wasn't I don't know.
Okay. So she still does a little bit of trembling, right? I see her doing a little bit of trembling, but she's very, very sweet and very devoted to you. She did have,
Yes.
and she had even though I know this is pretty heinous in the puppy mill, but she had a relationship or two. I see two different people that she bonded with. So even though puppy mills are, they're pretty awful, there are people that were there. There were two women that were there, and there's actually a young man that was there as well. Sometime in there, I think it was maybe someone's kid, who she actually had a relationship with. And she's actually very grateful to that because it did teach her how to bond with humans, and that's how she's so loyal and bonded with you. Yes, she's very, very sweet and loyal with you?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. She is my baby.
Oh, she loves you so much. And it really feels like you've been together even longer than a year because you guys have this really powerful connection, this powerful love. And it feels like she's saying basically like, I don't remember anything but the love that we have. And I remember the love from, that I actually had with other people in that situation. And she does have some grief that she still works through for all of the babies that she didn't get to nurture. The love that she has for you is the thing that's her whole life. And she's healthy now. And she's like, it's basically like she's rich. Like she hit the jackpot. And, so yeah.
I see her backing into you. Like she wants her whole person on you. Like her body next to yours. She loves being around your neck. She loves smelling you. Around your neck and
she wants
your
to be
hairline.
in my lip, and she loves to be right in my face constantly.
Yes, because that's where she feels you're very bonded, and so she wants to be. The only way to say it, she wants to be part of you. Well, she is part of you, but she wants to physically even be part of you. So it's a very beautiful thing. And so I have the shivers. So she also, yes, I think you already said this, Tricia, that she gets kind of shaky, but not anymore from, I feel like a lot of that, the shivers are the love shivers. We call them spirit shakes. Yeah.
She's so happy.
She gets them with you.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun. Aww. And she says she likes to, she kind of bolts around the room. If she's on the floor, she'll like pounce. She likes to pounce and show you her energy. Is this the case?
No, she's not very playful.
No,
I take that back. She will, if she hears a timer go off, she will try to attack something.
Oh.
Or if you step on a dog toy, she might come at your toe.
I think she's still coming out of her shell with that. She has a lot of conditioning. I think you're feeling her nature because I see her, before you said that, Hoko, I saw her nudging a toy toward you with her nose and pushing it with her nose like she wants to play. So I think she's probably still building some new habits to be able to come out of her shell in that way. Right now she's just wallowing in all of the love that you guys share, and that's super duper satisfying for her.
No.
She loves her food. She loves her bed. She's like, oh my gosh. It's like she's, just spinning around. Look at my kingdom. I'm a princess. Do you call her a princess?
Yes, I have.
She feels that. She knows she's a princess.
I have 3 boys, so she's my little girl.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you are giving her a beautiful life. And I actually feel that, her timeline feels really strong because the love that you guys are sharing is really invigorating. And so congratulations. And what a beautiful relationship. Thank you for taking care of her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Jennifer. And thank you so much for letting us connect with Lexi.
Thank you so much. I've had a great time.
Thank you. All right. And we have another one. Do we have Brenda still? Oh, Brenda. Oh, sorry. We have another caller. Okay, well, let's take a caller. Maybe she has a question or he has a question about animal communication or something. And hi, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, Tricia. My name is Cindy. I'm on the lab with you.
Hi, Cindy.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, I did forget to say hello to the Lightworkers Lab. Hi, Lab. We broadcast live into the Lightworkers Lab every time that we go live. And you can find the Lightworkers Lab. It's an online spiritual community by searching for the Lightworkers Lab in groups in Facebook. So join us there. Hoku is a part of it as well.
Great community. I love it.
Cindy, what's going on with you today?
I love the topic because many times people post on our community sites of lost animals, and I practice Reiki and I use Reiki, and I just wanted to know, I have two questions, but I wanted to know about this first to see if I have the ability to help the animals. I feel like I communicate with them telepathically. Mm-hmm. Different from what you were describing on your levels are much higher and greater. I just kind of feel like I use telepathy to communicate with the animals to get them home. And with the case you were just talking about with your friend, I also, was in on trying to connect with the cat. Mm-hmm. Cat, what was her name? Callie or
Charlie? Thank you so much for that.
Charlie.
Yeah.
So it was exciting to see her actually go her way home.
Yes, it was very exciting. Well, absolutely. We all are telepathic. And Reiki is, you say, not on the level that Hoku and I are. Reiki is a very advanced and high level of intuitive work. So I don't want you to have that speech in your head. I don't want you to talk about how you're lower or anything like that. Mm-mm. And it's very natural. You heard how Hoku learned how to do it in an afternoon. And it's really not learning how to do it as much as unlearning the ways that you didn't believe that you could.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of remembering, right? So I would say, yes, you're an animal communicator. Yes, you're talking to him telepathically. So give yourself permission and say yes, right? So just know that you are. You are.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to continue to do that for sure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And then I had a second question too. I adopted a cat last year who's 5. Mm-hmm. And I feel he is giving me energy, and his name is Jasper. He's dark gray, beautiful color. And I just wanted to know if he has anything to say to me or what his abilities might be.
He's 5 now. So what's interesting, I have to just share this with you, is that Charlie, the kitty that we, that was lost in this episode, and Nico, her brother, they had another brother who I homed, and Dina and I both fell deeply in love with that third kitty too, but we homed him with someone else, and his name was Jasper.
I remember you mentioned that one time. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Jasper, like you said, he's giving you energy. Yes, animals are natural energy healers. With the collar that was it with Tito? Was it Tito or was it, I already forgot, Lexi. Lexi was up around her neck all the time. Lexi is working on her heart chakra and her throat chakra and wanting to be up around in her high, energy chakras because she wants to work in and relish in those areas. So they are natural energy healers. They use their bodies, and it would not be a surprise that you have an animal, since you are an energy healer as a Reiki practitioner, that you have a cat who is also into energy healing very much. Hoku, what do you think?
So cool.
I agree. When did you say Jasper came into your life?
It was July last year.
Oh, okay. And how long have you been practicing Reiki?
Oh, several years. 4 years, maybe.
Yeah, I would say that he's joined you in your journey because of what you're doing. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And I love that his name is Jasper. Mm-hmm. We all love crystals, right? So that's awesome. Tricia we both have very spiritual cats.
Yes.
Tricia's in particular too, that they work in very different ways with her. I have a few cats that work in different aspects of my life and help me, and you do too. Mm-hmm. We become part of their purpose. And
I noticed it immediately when he came to me. I was like, wow, whoa, I never had this before in a pet that I noticed. But do you know if he has anything to tell me? Because I don't really pick up on any messages from him to me.
Well, I'll tell you, does he have green eyes? Does he have pale green eyes? We just have
they're pretty... They're palish, yeah.
Okay.
Medium, dark, pale.
We just have a couple minutes left. One thing I want to tell you is that it is harder in a way to distinguish your animal's voice, meaning like their literary voice, because they are your body. So it's like, again, you not having objectivity. You've heard me say that before. And so for anyone else who's listening, it's actually kind of easier to start your animal communication ability, by working with someone else's animals because they feel foreign in your head as compared to your own animal that feels like your own energy because they are your own energy. They're an extension of you. So, Hoku, did you have any, were you able to connect with Jasper?
If I am, does he sleep by your head or like to be on your pillow? Or like if you're sitting on the couch, is he on the backrest or something near your head?
He does do that. Yep, he does do that.
And the reason it feels like, well, and you kind of also said it, that you deal with some self-doubt.
Yeah.
And he's trying to balance you out in that self-doubt. So he needs to be around your head a lot, and your third eye. So he's helping you and just helping to balance you and wanting you to trust yourself.
Cool.
If only we could see ourselves the way that they see us. With that, what's interesting is that they can hear our thoughts. They can hear our self-doubt. And despite what they can feel and hear that we think about ourselves, they look at us with that perfect love because that's the truth. They understand the full context and they mean it when they look at us that way. So, so just keep working with him. Ask him how he wants to work with you, and he'll just start showing up in that way. He'll start to come and sit on your lap. You can ask him to pray for an animal if you're working with an animal, because they work in that way. And you could just speak it aloud if you're uncertain about whether or not you're, speaking it in your mind clearly or not. That is perfectly legitimate. I do that still. Well, we all talk to our animals. But we are out of time. Thank you so much for calling, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us connect with Jasper. And we are out of time. Hoku, I hope that you will come back on sometime. I love you so much. Thank you so much
for having me.
It was so fun, and I love you. And again, this is Hokulani Akau, one of my oldest and dearest friends and soul sisters, amazing and talented animal communicator and intuitive. Hopefully we'll have her back on again. You guys write in and tell me how much you want her back on, so then she'll have to come back on. So
I love you.
I love you. And thank you for joining us this week. We'll be back at our regular time at 11 a.m. Pacific, live on ubnradio.com, channel 1, or on any of my social media outlets at Tricia Carr Charm. And you can, of course, catch all of the archives at youtube.com/Tricia Carr, or by searching for Charmed Life with Tricia Carr on the podcast. And check out my intuitive and mediumship development class that's coming up this Sunday, every other Sunday. Check it out, and I hope you'll join us. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.